Today's coverage of the 2022 winter meetings from San Diego, California on MASN All Access is brought to you by Toyota. For legendary safety and reliability, choose Toyota and let's go places.
Scott Borson, they said that Baltimore's birds of prey and you're feathered up. How do you interpret that, and how would you categorize your conversations with him?
Well, first of all, I like the feather up lingo. Always looking for some different catchphrases, and appreciated that. I have enjoyed a very productive relationship with those guys over the years. They've got a lot of good players, many of whom are already in our organization, and there's others that we'd love to have join. They've got a lot of great players. We're talking to every major agency here on a face-to-face basis. It's one of the value of the winter meetings for me. And we've certainly, as he said, kept in touch with him on a number of his clients.
Do you think that you'll have another signing before you leave here on Thursday?
I can't handicap it right now. I'm not one to view this event as something with some artificial pressure, but sometimes there's very real pressure that comes out of this event, and if that happens, we have to be in a competitive position to move quickly before the winter meetings are over. We'll do that, but other than that, that's the only time frame I see the winter meetings presenting.
Are you excited about the draft lottery, and what kind of influence do you think that'll have in the sport?
I am kind of excited about it. We have a 0.4% chance of getting the #1 pick, which is pretty cool when you're the last team to not make it into the playoffs and have a winning season. So that would be great. Maybe we'll get a top couple pick, even with our good season. That would be a nice outcome, but I don't think the odds are good of that happening. I think it's interesting. It was put in place in the CBA. Let's see where it takes things. But wherever we're picking, I know that our scouting department will have a lot of fun trying to do as well as they can.
What did you like about Nomar Mazara?
There's a lot to like about Nomar Mazara. He's a huge prospect coming up, and he's still a young guy. He's 27 years old. I think he's a good fit for our roster, which is why he chose us as he was choosing among some other NRI type opportunities. Provides a left-handed bat option in particular that can play both corner outfield spots. I think we're going to have a roster spot on the team that presents a left-handed, I don't know if fourth outfielder is the right word, but outfielder who's kind of a platoon option. So I could see him filling that roster spot, and it's going to be a good opportunity for him to come in and try to make our team out of camp.
Along those lines, with a guy like Kyle Stowers or another, Taryn Bobbitt, kind of these young guys who didn't fully establish themselves a year ago, how do you balance looking to supplement them with making sure they're still getting extended opportunities?
I think that we want them to still have the opportunities. We want them to have the competition. I think that we don't want to put ourselves in a position of relying on players that spent most of the year in the minor leagues fully, and knowing that we might have some ups and downs from that group, and we want to have some depth in the organization or some options in case they don't make the team out of camp. But they're going to get every opportunity to, but so will a guy like Nomar Mazara, Franchy Cordero. We just want as much competition as possible.
When you discuss the hypothetical idea of potential trade for a starter, and you talked yesterday about prospects would be probably the main. Would you ever be open to trading an established major leaguer already on your roster to sweeten a deal, or is it mainly prospects that you look to move if that was to be if that's something that would happen?
Yeah, I think we've brainstormed stuff with other teams where it's a major leaguer for major leaguer trade. Obviously, nothing's happened yet, but we're definitely open to that. I think it makes it a little bit harder in our situation because our goal this year is to increase our odds of making it into the playoffs, and if we're taking guys off of our major league team, kind of bites into that. So, but we've definitely entertained those types of discussions when it comes to importing starting pitchers.
Do you have your whole 5 board ready yet?
No. Mike Snyder and the pro scouts that are here and members of our analytics team have been preparing quite a bit for the Rule 5 draft. I think we have the 17th pick, which makes for a lot of uncertainty. You know, in the past we've had a real high pick, so you could kind of be assured of getting one of the guys. You know, I doubt that we'll have 17 names stacked up, so maybe we don't take anyone. We just haven't made any decisions yet in terms of how long our board is going to be and the exact order.
Where are you now on a backup catcher? I know you have Ben Boom and Colasfari in the, you know, as non-roster invites. Are you aggressively looking for, you know, maybe a major league signing?
I think we are looking for major league signing. I wouldn't say anything's picked up steam yet, and there are some major trade guys out there in the catching market. Not that they're fits for us because we have Rutschman as a starter, but I think it's perhaps the catching market and free agency won't take fully shape until some of those trades either happen or become clear that they're not going to happen.
How do you see Adley playing time kind of breaking down next season in terms of the catching aspect, the DH aspect, first base, maybe? How do you just kind of see that all playing out?
Well, first of all, I think whether or not he plays any first base will depend on what we do the rest of our offseason with other position player acquisitions. I definitely think he'll be playing some DH. I think we want him back there catching as much as he can while not wearing his body down to where his performance suffers. And, you know, I think there's almost no one in the league, or there is no one in the league who catches every single game. And I think, you know, JT Realmuto is probably the guy that catches the most frequently, and he's usually, you know, in the, I think, 120, 125 game neighborhood or something in a full season. So that's kind of the upper bound in today's game. So, you know, I assume it won't be any more than that, even in a max scenario. But I think last year, Robbie Chirinos was a great sounding board for Adley and taught him a lot. And, you know, it's still only his second year in the big league, so having somebody else back there with some more experience might be nice for him as well to share the duties.
What's been your take so far, just overall on the market here? And do you anticipate like the next, you know, 4 or 5 hours to kind of push up?
Yeah, it's been pretty fast. I mean, look, a lot of these aren't official yet, but just the reports of agreements. This probably on the faster, more expenditure end of a winter meetings that I can remember. But I think it makes sense. We've had either no winter meetings or some strange circumstances the last few years, and, you know, we just had a CBA, and I can't say I'm too surprised, but this is definitely seems to be moving along quite well.
When it is like a faster winter meetings pace, I mean, are you cognizant to like pump the brakes and make sure you don't get like ahead of yourself and kind of jump into a bidding war, so to speak?
Well, look, this is first of all, we didn't have the winter meetings the last couple of years, but then the first couple ones here, we were just so focused on hiring and building the organization, and we weren't as focused on major free agents. So this is really the first year where we've been a kind of a relevant party for a lot of the types of free agent talks that pick up steam at the winter meetings. So I can't say I've had a lot of experience with this with the Orioles, but yeah, we're pretty deliberate. I think we have a organized kind of approach, and we've done a lot of preparation coming in here. And yeah, the fact that the whole industry's here together can pick up the pace of competition. But other than that, I don't, you know, necessarily view this as an event where we feel pressure to do something. So it's only if things kind of pick up steam organically because there's competition are we going to worry about the end of the winter meetings.
Mike, as you mentioned, you guys are approaching this differently than you have in the past. Do you feel like other teams, agents are looking at you guys differently than they have in the past?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, you know, when we were in more of a rebuilding posture, there's certain just different tiers and different types of free agents that take a lot of interest in you. And, you know, when we signed Jose Iglesias, for instance, you know, we met with his camp at the winter meetings that year and expressed some serious interest. And, you know, we're just looking at different types of players in different positions. And I think the main thing that I get from agents is people see the player development that's happening in our organization, and I think they want their players to come here. They know we have good coaches and we know what we're doing, and it's a fun team and a good environment, and we try to treat players as well as we can because we want this to be a place that agents want to send their clients, and we feel like we've established that here, in particular in 2022. And so I think there's a lot of interest in us.
How much, now that you guys are more free agent relevant, this year, how much do you kind of look at what the fits of the other teams in the division would be, and how a player you might be interested in might end up going there? Obviously Gibson, and Toronto. How much do you look into that?
I find it pretty hard to predict. So I can't say that we sit around worrying about specific teams too much with that regard. We haven't, at least not yet, have we gotten in a situation where we're having to try to identify who exactly our competition might be. I think when you're out looking for pitching, which is mostly what we've been doing so far, there's very broad competition just because everybody's looking for pitchers, whereas if you're looking for a real particular roster piece, that tends to only be a few teams at any given time that can fit the roster. So maybe when we get into some of that, we try to identify some competition just to get a sense of the number.
Thanks for watching, and tune in all week to our coverage of the 2022 baseball winter meetings from San Diego, brought to you by Toyota. For legendary safety and reliability, choose Toyota, and let's go places.